Go, Brandon.
All right, guys, a couple of weeks after the Uvalde rampage killing and an additional week after the Buffalo rampage killing, we're kind of right at square one. Not only are we facing a bunch of anti-gun laws that are trying to be passed through the House and the Senate, but we're seeing more of the double standard and more of where some people just don't value our children as much as they do, well, politicians. Brett Kavanaugh is a Supreme Court justice who was stalked by a guy from California who was upset about a leaked document about abortion, about Roe versus Wade. This guy came all the way from California to Washington, D.C., stalked Kavanaugh, found out where he lived, had, I think, rope, tape, a gun, pepper spray. He was planning to kidnap Kavanaugh and then kill him just because of a leaked document. Now, we know he's a wacko, right? A lot of these people are. My point is, it took Congress a week to decide that they would pass a new law. This law is going to protect members of Supreme Court, their families. We have about 60 million kids in the United States that go to school, K through 12 school. Charter schools, public schools, private schools. 60 million kids who are basically exposed to killers every single day in these soft target, gun-free zones. They're sitting ducks. We offer them very little, if any, real qualified protection. We've got 9 Supreme Court justices, none of whom were hurt. Somebody makes a threat, granted a credible threat, and actually goes out to kidnap and potentially murder a justice, and Congress finds the time within a 7-day period to pass a sweeping law. In fact, they wanted to pass the law that would extend to all of their staff members as well. I find it a little troubling that members of Congress participate in classism the way they do. They truly see themselves in a different class. Granted, they already have these protections. The same ones that they just granted for the Supreme Court, they've got. It's not like they don't already have it. So now we've got the Supreme Court, essentially the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and of course the executive branch, the White House. They all have these protections. Yet we have 60 million Americans out there that just because no one knows who they are and they're not important, they don't deserve the same kind of hardened protection that we're giving people in Congress and in Supreme Court. I'm not saying that they don't deserve some kind of protection. My point is that these children deserve at least the same amount of protection. Now, I don't know if this surprises you or not, but the legislation passed the House in a 396-27 vote, with all the no votes coming from Democrats. Veronica Escobar of Texas, a Democrat, was among one of the Democrats opposing the measure, and she argued that the bill would extend protections to justices' family members instead of, quote, health care providers and patients and staff who are vulnerable every day, especially because of the action of this Supreme Court. So let me get this straight. Because Roe versus Wade is now being questioned based on a leaked document, the doctors are at risk? This was a pro-abortion person that went from California to D.C. to try to murder somebody. Anti-abortion people are not the ones who are trying to murder people. So this Democrat is trying to strip protections of Supreme Court people kind of as retaliation of what she thinks might come down based on a leaked document. Now, at the head of this, of course, naturally, is our own John Cornyn. John Cornyn, of course, feels like everybody else needs the protections, the proper protections, except for our children. Remember, John Cornyn is one of the senators, Republicans who are pushing through or helping to push through these anti-gun bills that actually provide zero protection for our children, actual protection. I don't mean perceived protection. I don't mean these little soft, cushy words that say Protect the Children Act. It doesn't matter what you call it. If there's no real legislation written in the verbiage, there's no real protection provided to the children. Now, the last thing that really bothered me about this was the fact that the House and the Senate are arguing about 2 different types of bills that'll give these Supreme Court justices the protection that they feel like they need. Again, they were trying to extend some of it to some of the staff members as well. Listen to the words that fell out of the mouth of our own Mitch McConnell. I want you to see how these people look at it. Remember, I mentioned the 60 million children. This is how these people think of us. We're not a name and we're nobody. McConnell said that protections should not go to, quote, nameless staff that no one knows. McConnell feels like Supreme Court staff, who are nameless, that no one knows, are not worthy of any kind of protection. What do you think he thinks of us?
Let's go, Brandon.